Hello again, everyone. I'm back for part 2 of our discussion on inversions. This time, we're going to be talking about chordal inversions, but just like intervals, the premise is exactly the same. An inversion is a rearrangement of the notes that are already present in a structure. Now, when it comes to chord inversions, there are a couple of things that I need to say first. First of which being that each note has its own designation, a separate designation, which I've written out here. I'll be using our friendly C major chord just to keep things easy. In this position, this configuration where it's just thirds on top of each other, each of the notes have this name. The bottom note, C, is the root, which I will be marking in green. Just like that. The note above that is our third, because it is a third from the bottom, which is E. And then the last note, that is called the fifth, because it is a fifth from the bottom. Okay? So in this position, it's just C, E, and G. Root, third, and fifth. This is also called root position because the root note is the lowest note. When you invert a chord, in order to invert it from root position, you simply need to put the root note on top. Or whatever note is in the bottom, I should say. Whatever note is at the bottom, you put it on top. And I'll demonstrate that for you now. So keep the E and the G where they are, and the C goes back on top. Let me just take a quick moment to highlight each of these. So we've got the third on the bottom now, with the fifth above that, and then the root note is above our fifth. So you can see the position is changed, but the notes remain the same. We have the third, fifth, and root. If the third is in the lowest spot, that is first inversion. We can invert this one more time, and to do so, again, we put the bottom note on top. And I'll show you how that is done right now. This time we're going to keep the G. We're going to add the C. And then we're going to put the E on top of that. So now what we have here is that the fifth is in the bottom. On the bottom, I should say. And I'll get rid of that just to make it a little more clear. Fifth is on the bottom. Root is above the fifth. And the third is above the root. This is known as second inversion. Again, same notes, different configuration. And then we can actually do this one more time. We can put the bottom note on top of the stack again. But as you will soon see, this structure looks very familiar, right? It's a root position again, but an octave above. Just to really hammer this in, let me mark these as well. And there you go. This is also root position, even though it's an octave above, because each of these notes is in the thirds configuration. Or I should say, it is in root position, with the root in the bass. So let's go over this one more time. Root position. The root note, C, is in the lowest part. First inversion. The E, the third, that is the lowest part. In second inversion, G, the fifth, that's in the lowest part. And then once we go up again, we are back to root position with our root note, C, as the lowest note. And that is chord inversions. But I also should mention the second thing that I said that I was going to share with you. Each of these has its own Roman numeral type of label as well. And this is where it's going to get a little bit strange, but if you bear with me, I promise it will make sense. In C major, we'll just say we're in the key of C major. This is our 1 chord. That's simple. If you were to label a C chord in first inversion, well, I should say, whatever Roman numeral you give to something is based on the root. Our root is C. We are in the key of C, so this is a 1 chord. However, to demonstrate that this is a first inversion 1 chord, we want to put a 6 on top of it, like this. And this 6 tells us that the distance between the bottom note and the top note is a 6th. The interval of a 6th. And then, this is also a 1 chord, again, because we are in the key of C. Our root is C, so that's why we give it a 1. There are 2 other notes above this. This is actually given the 6-4 designation. The 6, because there is a 6th above the bottom note from G to E, and there is also a 4th above the bottom note from G to C. And then we are back here with the root position 1 chord. So let me illustrate that one more time. Root position, it's just the Roman numeral. First inversion gets a little 6. Second inversion gets a 6-4. Because in first inversion, the 6 means that the distance between the bottom and the top is an interval of a 6th. In second inversion, the distance between the bottom and the top, that is also a 6th, but there is also a 4th in there. And that is chord inversions, both their configuration, their names, and their labels using Roman numerals. I hope you found this helpful and interesting. If you have any comments or questions, as always, you're welcome to get in touch with me at any time. And once again, music be with you.